October 7th, 2004. Jennifer, friends, and family of Mark. As promised, here are copies of the correspondence I received from Mark over the course of the last month. For the most part, I have merely copied and pasted them from the original email application. As you'll read, he requested this in hopes that you'll better understand why he did what he did. I've made this site because it's the most efficient way to share Mark's emails with all of you. I'm not advertising this to anyone, but I do think it would be wise to pass this URL along to anyone who may help with the investigation. As I collect more information from various sources, I'll update this site to keep an accurate record. I'll have that link at the end of the series as well. If you need to speak with me, Jen has my number. Thank you for your patience, and again, I am profoundly sorry. Eric. From Condry, Mark. Date: Monday, September 6th, 2004, 8:17 a.m. Subject: an old friend.
Eric. Hey man, it's Mark from Houston. You remember, right? The Saturday Night Gang? Feels like a long time ago, doesn't it? I found your email from your website. Looks like you're out in LA now. Cool. I remember telling you should be out there, doing the California thing. You still with Connie? I'm in Dallas now. Met someone who works in my building, and we've been seeing each other for over 2 years now. Hey, listen. The reason I'm writing to you out of the blue is because I got this newspaper article in the mail. Maybe you got one too. It's about Andrew. You remember, Drew? Travis would pick him up most of the time. Messy hair. Sort of the fanboy type. I didn't remember his last name until I got this thing, and now it's really disturbing me. Do you know what happened? I mean, did you hear about it already? Hey, let me know if you have some time to talk. I can call you, or you can call me if that works better. I'm gonna go see if I can track down Travis and Dave. A quick search didn't seem to turn up any leads, but maybe they just don't have websites. If you still talk to either of them, let me know. Thanks. Mark.
From Condry, Mark. Date: Wednesday, September 8th, 2004, 7:44 a.m. Subject: an old friend.
Eric. Thanks for the quick reply. I didn't mean to sound cryptic in my first email. I'm just reluctant, I guess. I mean, I hadn't really seen nor thought about Andrew since he stopped showing up for game night, and that was 5 years ago. That was about the time that we all went our own ways, back in 1999. You moved out west, I moved up to Dallas, etc. So, when I got this article in my mailbox, it caught me by surprise. I'll transcribe the thing for you. I wasn't sure if maybe you were the one who sent it to me. I attached it in this email. It's at the bottom.
I remember him. He was never the kid with the idea. He was the kid who agreed with yours. Slowest to get the joke. He usually laughed the longest.
That's Andrew in a nutshell, yeah. At least, how I remember him. He kind of got on my nerves sometimes, but damn if he didn't love being part of the gang. He'd ask me for some poker chips on card night, or to borrow dice from my bag, you know, that sort of thing. And I remember that whenever we played Tecmo Bowl on your old Nintendo, he always wanted to be on my team, which would have been fine if he were any good.
I haven't heard from Travis or Dave in years. They fell off the radar about the same time you did. None of us made much of an attempt to stay in touch. It was just one of those things, I guess.
That's okay. I wasn't trying to point fingers. It happens. But I was hoping you had already heard about Andrew. Like, you'd gotten a copy of the article too. I still haven't been able to get a number or even an email for Travis or Dave. Maybe they know more about this than we do. Andrew usually hitched a ride with Travis most of the time. It was on the way home for Travis. Didn't Andrew live with his mom, like in an apartment? And his stepdad was a real estate broker. Had that one house way out past Highway 6? You remember that? Andrew was scared to death of that house. Here's the article. There's a photo of Andrew that comes with it. Looks like it's maybe his driver's license photo. He still had messy hair. Gunman shoots 2. Kills self in Boise restaurant. Diners at the roadside breakfast cafe on Interstate 84 fled to the parking lot in a panic yesterday afternoon when a man entered and began shooting patrons inside, killing 2. The couple, John and Lucy Madsen, were having lunch when 26-year-old Andrew Hughes entered, wielding a Smith & Wesson .59 pistol, according to police. Witnesses claim the perpetrator was muttering to himself as he approached the smoking section and opened fire into the first occupied booth, fatally wounding the Madsens. Soon after, he turned the weapon on himself. All 3 were taken by paramedics to St. Alfonso's Regional Medical Center, where John Madsen and the shooter were pronounced dead. Lucy Madsen, 37, remained in critical condition for several hours, but did not survive the night. Police are investigating Hughes's work and personal background, but as of this morning, a motive for the attack is unknown. If there's more to the article, I didn't get it. That's where it was torn off, and the other side is part of a Dillard's ad. This is really bothering me, Eric. I mean, what the hell was Drew doing in Boise with a fucking gun? He hung out with us for almost 2 years. I just don't get it. And something else is eating at me. But I can't figure it out yet. Mark.
From Condry Mark. Date, Thursday, September 9th, 2004. 2:00 p.m. Subject, Andrew.
Hey. I know how you feel. It's not hard to think of the times he sat next to us at the table, smiling like a fool, rolling dice and moving his pieces around the board. He loved Monopoly night. Always wagged his tongue when he counted money. I don't think he realized he did that. You know, it's impossible to think of him shooting up a diner.
There's no return address on the envelope?
No, but the postmark is Idaho, not CA or TX.
Not sure if you've already considered this, but it's possible the whole thing is a fake. Some sick practical joke made to mess with your head.
Yeah, I've considered it. I didn't tell you this earlier, but I called up St. Alfonso and asked if they had a patient named Andrew Hughes admitted in the last month. They had no record of him. I asked if it would show if he'd been pronounced DOA, and I got transferred to ER, where they keep paramedic records and info on all DOAs. They have him listed. He showed up on August 28th. died of a gunshot wound to the head and was pronounced dead by ER resident at 3:14 p.m. I asked for some contact info, like a phone or address where he might have been living. I got brushed off, told to call the police for that stuff. And the hospital wouldn't give out any personal info, at least not without some signatures. I haven't called the police yet, but that's probably the next step. Glad to hear that you and Connie are going strong. Sorry to sort of dump all this on you. I just didn't know who else would want to listen. I'll write if anything else comes of this. At this point, I'm thinking maybe Drew's mom sent it to me. Maybe Drew kept track of me when I moved to Dallas and had my address. I'm listed in the book. That would explain the logistics part. I'm overthinking things. Take care. Mark.
From Condry Mark. Date, Friday, September 10th, 2004. 3:11 a.m. Subject, Thoughts and Concerns.
Hey again. I know it's late, or early depending on how you look at it, but this Andrew thing won't go away. I think I finally realized what's been eating at me, and I need to spit it out. Do you remember what went on just before Andrew stopped showing up for game nights at your place? I do. He was gone for 2 weeks because he had to house sit for his stepfather. Mom and stepdad went on a big vacation every summer for like 10 days, and Andrew was just expected to stay behind. He usually just stayed at his mom's apartment, but that year he was asked to mind that house his stepdad owned, the one out in the old rich subdivision west of Houston. Maybe the guy had a bunch of houses. He was big on real estate, wasn't he? Anyway, the guy had inherited this dog from one of his clients, somebody who moved out and didn't want to take it with him. I want to say it was an Australian Shepherd. You remember any of this? I remember Andrew talked about it the weekend before. Apparently the dog had behavioral problems. Whined, barked, scratched at the door, pissed on the carpet, you know. For some reason, it didn't want to be inside. The dad always kept it in a kennel except when it rained. Andrew was supposed to take care of the dog, plus a few other things then and now, like mow the lawn, you know, that sort of shit. But Andrew didn't want to go. Dave got into that argument with him about how it was the perfect setup for a young bachelor. House all to yourself, party time. But Andrew kept saying it was too cold there for a party. Too cold. I distinctly remember that, and how he kept asking us to drive out and stay with him while he was house sitting. I don't think any of us ever went out there, did we? I know I never did. We didn't see him for 2 Saturdays in a row, and then Travis picked him up like usual since he was back at his mom's place. And that's the one night with Andrew I remember the most. I bet it's the same with you. I know it was the most bizarre, frustrating night I ever had with the group. Andrew walked in quoting some commercial verbatim. I want to say it was a Tide ad. Travis told us he was like that in the car all the way over. Commercials, shows, movies, songs on the radio. The first couple of hours gaming was like being in the room with the TV on. And then he started parroting us. He'd just copy something we said. Remember? Tell me you remember this. I can see it in my head so clearly. Oh, and what was his response to anyone's complaints? Okay. Drew, stop quoting Law & Order episodes. Please, give the Pontiac commercial a rest. Dude, shut the fuck up and roll your dice. Okay. and then he'd launch into something else a few minutes later. It wasn't just that he would regurgitate that crap. It was that he could take it so far. Whole realms of dialogue that he'd somehow memorized from one throwaway TV episode. Lyrics to entire songs. It went from odd to funny and just to plain disturbing within the first hour. Look, I'll come out and say it. Whatever happened in those 10 days, it changed him. He wasn't the same person after that, and we all know it. We never talked about it, at least not with me around. But fuck if we didn't know instantly that the person who came back from that house was not Andrew. I wrote before that I hadn't thought about Andrew since '99. That was a lie. You know the way your brain sometimes reminds you of things that you hate to dig up? The ones that sour your stomach? Well, I've thought about him a few times. About that night, specifically. Was that the start of his madness? Or whatever it was that drove him to shoot up a diner? Were we the first to see him lose his grip? Jesus, Eric, why the hell didn't we say anything? Oh, did I mention that I called to track down the source for the article? Well, the author finally called me back. She didn't have any new developments on the story, but said she'd continue to follow up with the police. I asked if she had any other details about the crime, stuff that didn't find its way into the article, and we sort of went over her notes. Most of it I already knew, but there was one piece of info that caught my attention. She wrote in the article that Andrew was mumbling or muttering to himself when he entered the restaurant. But she didn't put what he was saying into the article. According to witnesses, he kept repeating, "The door is open." Does that make any sense to you? The door is open? Write me back. Mark.
From Condrey, Mark. Date, Sunday, September 12th, 2004, 5:10 p.m. Subject, a plan.
Eric. Haven't heard from you. Just writing to let you know that I've had a day to put some distance from the whole thing, and I've made a decision. I'm going to drive down to Houston and see if I can find someone in Andrew's family. I once rode with Travis to pick Drew up, and I think maybe I can find out where his mom used to live. From there, I was thinking I could find his stepdad, and, by extension, the house. I tried the Boise lead already. I called the cops and got more questions than answers. And now some Lieutenant Perez plans to call me back in case he needs more testimony from me. Like I know anything. Apparently, Andrew was living alone in a rental up there, working at a Blockbuster Video. That's about all I got from the cops, and Idaho, so I'm aiming for Houston. Even driving my own car and renting a room at a cheapo motel, it's still going to cost me about $200 for the trip. Jenny's worried about me. She'd rather I stay and pretend the police will figure this out on their own. But I have to go there, Eric. Here's why. I think Andrew was afraid of that house for a reason. Whatever that reason was, during those 10 nights, something emptied him. Something gutted Andrew like a fish. It yanked out whatever he was inside or shocked him into forgetting it all away. He was hollowed out. And to fill the void, he absorbed any input he could find. Television, radio, conversation, whatever. He soaked it up and presented it as Andrew. He could walk and talk, and he wasn't injured, not physically, but he wasn't the same either. There's a gap I need to fill in my head, like the time in the house. I have these pieces of Andrew that don't match. I need something to match. Hell, I'll feel better if something would just make sense. I won't ask you to fly down and join me, but I could use your help all the same. I have some questions you might be able to answer. I'd like it if you called me or sent me a note if you know any of these. My phone number is... Number 1. What was the stepfather's name, first or last? Number 2. What was his mom's name? Was her last name also Hughes? And finally, number 3. What was the name of the subdivision where the stepdad's house was? I think Andrew mentioned it once. I hope I haven't freaked you out too much with my crazy talk. I know it probably comes off sounding absurd. Or maybe not. You were there for some of this. If you really think I'm off my noggin, tell me, by all means, tell me. I hope to hear from you soon. Mark.
From Condry Mark. Date, Monday, September 13th, 2004, 8:22 a.m. Subject, A-plan.
Eric. Thanks again for calling. I got your email as well, and it mentions a few things we didn't discuss over the phone. So I want to add a comment or two.
What I remember was that Travis told us that the time he went to pick up Drew and had to go up to his room to get him, Travis went upstairs to his room, and the kid was pacing back and forth by his bed. Everything was all neat and tucked in, but the carpet was worn in a line where Drew was pacing, like it's all he did.
Yes, I remember that too, and the way Travis told the story. It was like he wanted it to sound funny, but he didn't believe it was. And Dave laughed. He said, "Man, that dude's a broken record," and we all agreed. Fuck. We all just let it go at that, like it was easier to just write him off. But Travis was the last one to laugh. He'd seen that room with his own eyes.
Go. I really would, but Connie got sick last night, and she's still throwing up this morning. And I don't feel right leaving town with her like this.
Understandable. You stay there. I'll continue to email you on this thing. I can't really talk about Drew with Jenny. I mean, she never knew him. She doesn't get why this is so disturbing, outside of the horror that took place in Boise. That's why I keep writing you. Nobody else gets it. Hey, maybe I'll somehow find Travis or Dave while I'm in town. M.
From Condry Mark. Date, Tuesday, September 14th, 2004, 6:51 p.m. Subject, I made it.
Eric, made it to Houston. The drive was hell. Traffic and a persistent rattle in the trunk wore me down. The AC unit in my motel room sounds like a submerged Cessna engine. It'll be hard for me to sleep with it on, and impossible with it off. Well, at least the whole internet access bit works, and I'm able to check my email. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. I'll be prowling Braeswood and your old neighborhood to zero in on an apartment complex I went to once. Joy. Wish me luck, Mark.
From Condry Mark. Date, Wednesday, September 15th, 2004, 9:06 p.m. Subject, lots of stuff.
Eric, great news. I have a solid lead. The whole day felt like I was pulling a string from the sand, but it's pointed me in the right direction. By the way, these emails are becoming more of a journal for me, kinda to help me log my progress. I hope you don't mind. It took me an hour of driving back and forth around the Gessner and Braeswood area before I zeroed in on the right side street. The landmarks had changed. I was 90% sure I'd found the right apartment complex, but I was still grasping air. With no name for Drew's mom and no guarantee her last name was Hughes, I went to the manager's office. And I guess I just got lucky. It turns out her name is Nancy Hughes, and she stopped paying rent in September of 1999. Drew paid it for the rest of the lease term, which ended the following February. According to the note in the resident file, he paid in cash. Seems Mom moved out, or just up and left one day. Poof. Andrew was living alone in the apartment then? How do you suppose he was paying rent for it with just a minimum wage job? I showed the manager the article about Andrew, and then I lied. I said I was a private investigator. I don't know why. Maybe it was to justify why I was having her dig up rental information from over 5 years ago. Anyway, she kinda got off on it and kept rooting around in the Hughes files for me, like a movie sidekick. She found something. A third-party check covered rent for December of 1998. Kurt Malone. I'm thinking this is his stepdad. The manager photocopied the check for me, and 10 minutes later I was calling the phone number printed with Kurt's address in the upper left-hand corner. No look there. Disconnected. So I took another approach and called 411 for a local realtor service. You can do a search for contact information for a specific realtor. I remember hearing about this from a coworker who'd sold his place in Greatwood. Malone was listed under a little Remax affiliate office in Katy. I got that number and called there, and left a message. Evelyn, the owner, called me back and said Malone hadn't worked there in forever. He just up and vanished. Left her with all kinds of issues, too. She thinks he had financial problems and bailed from Mexico. I find it hard to swallow a theory told to me in stage whisper, but maybe that's just her personality. Still, that's 2 people gone. Before, I thought maybe his mom just moved in with his stepdad. Now, I don't know what the hell to think. The call went on for half an hour as I got to hear the HR nightmare Evelyn went through thanks to Kurt's disappearance. Halting his benefits, freezing the $401,000 plan, surrendering documents to the police, etc. I finally broke in and asked about the house, the one out in West Houston he owned. She got very quiet after that. It took me another 10 minutes to answer her questions about who I was. This time I was honest and upfront with her. I guess it paid off because she believed me, or at least believed in my intentions. And she checked her records. I have an address, Eric. Kurt had his own home in Sugar Land, but get this, he was renting a house from a client. Way out west near Pecan Grove Plantation. The paperwork was curious since he was supposed to be selling this place, but the previous owners had signed off on it, in multiple places, like it was no real conflict of interest. She didn't know what happened to the house after it was seized by the bank. I guess I'll find out tomorrow when I drive out there. I'm close, man. I'm real close.
Note: Mark was able to send text messages from his phone, but I frequently received them late, sometimes hours after he sent them, as is the case with September 21st messages. From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date: Thursday, September 16th, 2004, 3:33 p.m. Subject: None.
Where are you? Call me.
From Condry Mark. Date: Thursday, September 16th, 2004, 8:25 p.m. Subject: The House.
Holy fuck. I tried calling you 5 times today, but I got your machine. I really need to talk. Call me as soon as you can. Where do I start? The house is still there. It's this generic one-story thing, bricks and siding. It must have been built at the same time as the other homes in the neighborhood, but it just looks older. The roof is scarred in places. The driveway hasn't held up like the others have. Cracks in the pavement. A plank is missing from the side gate. I rang the doorbell and figured I'd just talk to the new owners. No one answered. I couldn't really hear if it worked or not. Blinds and curtains in the windows kept me from peering inside. There was a dusty pickup truck with a warped front fender parked in the driveway. A neighbor across the street saw me checking it out. He talked to me for a while as he watered his shrubs. He remembered Kurt, but not by name, just as the guy who stayed there for a few months. The previous owners, Kurt's clients, didn't live there that much longer. They had all sorts of problems with the house. Electrical, heating, that sort of thing. They moved out and left most of their furniture behind, he said. Packed into a big RV one day and just drove off. He still remembered their names. John and Lucy Madsen.
From Condry Mark. Date: Saturday, September 18th, 2004, 7:59 a.m. Subject: Re-update.
Hey Eric. Seems like we're playing phone tag. When you called, I was already on the plane, and when I called you back, I guess you were at the hospital again. Hey, I'm really sorry to hear about Connie. Any idea what it is yet? Food poisoning, maybe? What are the doctors saying? I'm in Boise now. Yeah, I nabbed a ticket on short notice. Got on standby. I left my car at the George Bush Airport in Houston. Jen freaked out when I told her. Then she got really tense, said I should do what'll make me happy, and hung up. Well, what the hell will make me happy? Christ. I don't know a soul in Idaho, and I haven't slept in 2 days. I'm charging everything off my Visa, and I have no idea how I'm going to pay it off. My watch stopped working yesterday. I've got this weird ringing in my right ear. It comes and goes, annoying as hell. I'll tell you what would make me happy. Closing my eyes and not seeing Andrew staring back at me.
What are you going to do when you get there? Do you plan on telling the police about the Madison connection? Do you think that the Madisons left something in the house that drove Drew nuts, and he killed him for it years later? Seriously, this is fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know what to think. Right now, it's just a connection. They lived in the same house. The Madsons were there for 4.5 months, and Drew was there for 10 days. I have no idea what it means. Look, I'll email you when I figure something out.
I feel like I should pass this along to some people. Like to get some help out there. Or bring in the feds or something. I don't know if anybody else has managed to make the connection you did. It's an important one to this case. Can I forward your emails and contact info to someone?
I've been thinking about that because I was going to ask you to do that for me at first. But now I don't think I'll get the kind of help I need. Let's face it, there are enough unexplainable pieces to this thing. I'm going to get 2 kinds of interest. Nuts and skeptics. I wouldn't mind so much the skeptic, except I get this vision in my head of some guy calling Jenny, calling my parents, calling my boss at work, looking to paint the picture of a guy who lost his mind after hearing that his dead friend went nuts. I really haven't been totally honest with Jenny or my supervisor at the office, because this isn't something you can easily explain. I've been calling in sick to work, and I told Jen that I had to go to Boise to attend a pseudo-wake. I don't want that to bite me in the ass while I'm looking into Andrew's past. Here's what you can do for me, though. You can hold on to this stuff as evidence or whatever, and if something crazy happens and I'm in trouble, use this to explain the situation for me. Forward emails to my friends or family. Maybe if they read them, they'll understand what I'm going through. I'm sorry to make you do it, but I really appreciate the help. Mark.
From Condry Mark. Date: Monday, September 20th, 2004, 10:13 a.m. Subject, new lead.
Update. I called the hospital, the one where Andrew was taken back in August, and asked some pointed questions about where Andrew's body went. Who picked it up? Did a relative or friend show up? The answer was no. But he was tagged with John and Lucy. And I kept demanding some sort of lead, so the intern gave me the names of the relatives who were called in to confirm the IDs of the Madsons and to arrange for funeral home delivery. John's cousin lives out there. I'm about to head out and meet Greg Archer, the cousin, and his wife. I'll write again from the motel. Mark.
From Condry Mark. Date, Monday, September 20th, 2004, 10:40 p.m. Subject, The Archers.
Back. That was strange. I met the Archers. I know what you said last time I called, how I need to stop lying because it'll make it harder on me later. But I wasn't about to tell them I'm a good friend of the guy who killed Greg's cousin. I said I knew the Madsons when they were in Houston. I had some burning questions about what happened to them, as I claimed they practically dropped off the map when they left town. I hadn't heard from them since. Greg did most of the talking. His wife Helen was pleasant, in the stiff smile kind of way, but she always found ways to interrupt my chat with Greg and remind him of other things that needed to get done. The more she did it, the more I encouraged Greg to keep chatting. The Madsons, as he tells it, had a long future planned in Houston. John got a transfer from Schlumberger Oil and looked forward to settling down. Then things started to go wrong after they moved in. Just little things that piled up. Their car kept getting flat tires, Lucy broke her ring finger while futzing her with the dishwasher, trouble getting mail, their phone got disconnected when they didn't pay the bill for a few months, the bill they never got, that sort of thing. Finally, something happened. Greg doesn't know what. It was enough to get them to put the house on the market. That same week, John sold all his company stock, gutted his 401k, quit his job, and put everything into a big RV. He and Lucy drove off in their new motorhome and never looked back. They'd been driving around the country the last 5 years. Nomadic. Lucy got pregnant in 2002, but miscarried. They still kept on the road. Greg thinks they would have just kept driving through Idaho if the RV hadn't broken down with an AC problem. Greg says John called him up out of the blue and asked if he and Lucy could stay over. Greg made the guest room upstairs, and he and Helen welcomed them in their house for a week. This was right before the shooting. Now, here's where it gets stranger. Greg took me up to the guest room and pointed to some spots on the carpet. Right in front of the closet door, furniture footprints, like something had stood there. Greg says it was the dresser, the one against the opposite wall. They barricaded the closet door for the duration of their stay. It was the strangest thing. He also noted that they kept the bedroom light on around the clock, and bundled up with a spare set of woolen blankets for the bed. Greg never found the right way to ask a number of questions. I think he felt a little better talking to me about it. I'm not his cousin, but I'm someone who listened to him and agreed it was bizarre. I left Greg and Helen's not feeling any better. In fact, I feel worse now. I ache in the way when you're sore right before you get really sick. I'm trying to put things together. I really am. I have to go to the police now, don't I? I'll go first thing in the morning. I promise, Eric. Mark.
From Condre Mark. Date, Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 2:21 a.m. Subject, none.
Hey, I just saw this thing on Discovery Channel. Probably a rerun, I bet. You can catch it sometime. All about natural predators and stuff. Wild things. Yeah, I'm up watching TV since I can't sleep. Anyway, they had this thing on the Venus flytrap talking about how it lures the curious insect to its lip, and then these invisible hairs or something sense when one of the suckers lands on it, and wham! It swallows the bug. Just like that. Later on, it spits out the skeleton of the fly and waits for the next victim. Some types of fly traps emit this odor to entice more food, says the voice on the TV. The fancy name for them is Dionaea muscipula. So, I wonder if that's all this is. This whole thing with the shooting and the anonymous article in Houston and the footprints on the carpet, it's all to get me into the Venus flytrap. Only the scent isn't sweet sap, it's guilt. Guilt over all those times I was around Drew and didn't do anything. You know what I mean? And I'm flying all over the fucking country, and my head is buzzing, and I think I'm getting close to the truth, but really I'm tickling some invisible hair. And the ground is about to fold up on me and swallow me down into that place where Nancy Hughes and Ken Malone went. I'm gonna go take some sleeping pills. I hope Connie is getting better, man. I miss Jen. She has a way of making me feel like I'm home just being around her. I'm tired of motels. I'm sorry, Eric. I'm so sorry. M.
From Condre Mark. Date: Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 12:15 p.m. Subject: Where Andrew stayed.
Eric! Bingo! I went to the police and asked to talk to Lieutenant Perez. Instead, I got Detective Sokoloff. He said he was working the Hughes case now. I'm more inclined to think he was just running interference for Perez in case I was a wacko. Anyway, I told him about the Madsen connection with Andrew to see if that would help. He said they'd look into it. Then he started with the questions about me, and I looked away to cut the chat. And I looked for a way to cut the chat short. Police stations kind of make me feel uncomfortable. Anyway, the rest of the talk was rather banal, but at the end of it, almost offhandedly, he asked if I wanted to sign for Andrew's personal effects, since they had copies of all the important stuff. I said sure, even though it made me feel like they've already written off the case. Drew's been busy the last 4 years. He has driver's licenses for Kansas, Colorado, Arizona, California, and Idaho. Looks like he stayed at friends' homes because none of the addresses printed on the licenses have apartment numbers. His Idaho license is just 2 months old, and it has the address of the rental home where he stayed. I'm going to drop by there this afternoon and see what happened to his things there. Maybe there's a clue as to how he knew where to find the Madsens, or why he shot them. Perez, or somebody, has done this already, I'm certain, but I'm not sure he looked very far. Wish me luck. Mark.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date: Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 4:14 p.m. Subject: None.
I'm standing in front of the house now. It's the same one, the Houston house. Same marks on the roof, same fence damage.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date: Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 4:22 p.m. Subject: None.
Just talked to an old man across the street. He says that the house has been here for years. Rented out as far back as he can remember.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 4:25 p.m. Subject none.
I rang the doorbell. There was no answer. It's exactly the same, Eric. I don't understand.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 4:29 p.m. Subject none.
My ears are ringing again. I don't know what to do. How is it the same?
From removed at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 4:33 p.m. Subject none.
There's a way into the house here.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date September 21st, 2004, 4:33 p.m. Subject none.
Where are you? Pick up the phone.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 4:33 p.m. Subject none.
I'm going inside.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 4:38 p.m. Subject none.
I'm inside the house. Nobody's here. The air is cold and there's a metallic smell.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 4:41 p.m. Subject none.
I found stairs. I'm going up. I didn't see the second story from the street.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 4:47 p.m. Subject none.
Did you call? The signal cuts off. 3 bars, then no bars. I'm looking for more of Drew's stuff here. The layout's really bizarre and there are a lot of rooms.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 4:47 p.m. Subject none.
There's a door at the end of the hall, made entirely of metal. I'm checking the other rooms instead.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 5:05 p.m. Subject none.
Jesus Christ, Eric, answer your phone.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 5:09 p.m. Subject none.
I found Drew's backpack. I'm getting the hell out of here right now.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 5:11 p.m. Subject none.
I think someone's here. I just heard something.
From at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 5:77 p.m. Subject none.
The door is open.
From Condry Mark. Date Monday, September 27th, 2004, 1:18 p.m. Subject for Thursday.
Hello, Eric. This is Jennifer. I'm on Mark's PC now. I did like you suggested, and I've looked through his outbox, and I don't see any emails about this to anyone else. There aren't that many, really. He didn't tell me a lot of this stuff, Eric. Like now, I'm reading the last thing he sent you back on the 13th. I didn't know he was so emotional. Why didn't he tell me about any of this? But anyway, like you said, he wrote to you from his laptop when he was in Houston and Boise, and the police up there said that they found that in his hotel room, and they're taking their own sweet time checking it out for clues. So yeah, I'll keep asking for that to be sent down. Where else should I look? I don't know what else to do here except wait until you come down and look at it. He does have AIM, but I can't tell where the chat logs would be saved or anything that he's done. Please tell me what else I can do. You know more about what he was up to than anyone else. 'Cause of this old friend the two of you had that went crazy and now Mark's missing for almost a week. Please send me the other emails he sent you, please. I want to know now. Jen.
From Postmaster. Date, Friday, October 1st, 2004, 1:30 p.m. Subject, undeliverable mail. Receipt to generated following response. 550 unknown user. From x@x.x. Date, Friday, October 1st, 2004, 12:47 p.m. Subject, none. Human arm and leg bones found on street. Scottdale residents got a shock at the start of the morning commute when they found what seems to be human bones lying in the road of Sage Drive. Crime scene technicians arrived within half an hour and began to sweep the scene for more evidence that might help identify this victim, or at least establish an approximate time of death. Police spokesman Daniel Swift said bone evidence alone isn't usually enough to determine identity or even cause of death. These remains didn't just appear on the road. They were moved here, Swift said. Therefore, we're asking any witnesses to contact the police with information that might pertain to what happened. No other evidence was found along Sage Street or in yards of neighboring homes. More on this story as it develops. Whoever you are, whatever you are, fuck you. I may not know you, but I can tell what this is, and I'm not fooled. Your Venus flytrap game won't work. I'll make damn sure to warn Jenny and others too. So nice try, but no one's falling for your bait this time. It stops here.